Have you ever wondered why no one really tells you what it's like to grow old? Not the polite version? Not the cheerful birthday cards. I mean the real experience. The quiet moments. The harder truths. They say, just enjoy your golden years. But what if those golden years come with a side that no one talks about? If you're over 70, maybe you've already felt it. The changes, the silence. The sense that the world is slowly moving past you. You start to notice things. The phone rings less. Your legs don't carry you like they used to. The mirror reflects someone strong, but tired. And sometimes you feel invisible. Like life is happening all around you, but not with you. You're not alone. You are not imagining it. And you are certainly not weak. There's a part of aging that society avoids, not because it isn't real, but because it's uncomfortable to talk about. So people stay silent. And in that silence, millions of older adults start to feel like they're disappearing. But not here, not today. In this video, we're going to talk about the 7 shocking realities of aging after 70 that nobody warns you about. Not to frighten you, not to depress you, but to speak the truth so you can face it with understanding, with strength, and with dignity. You deserve honesty. You deserve to be heard. And you deserve to know that you still matter. So let's begin. Let's talk about what really happens after 70. Reality 1. The silent isolation that creeps in. There's a strange kind of silence that settles in after a certain age. Not the peaceful kind. Not the kind you enjoy with a good book and a cup of tea. But the kind that creeps in slowly, day by day, until one afternoon, you realize the phone hasn't rung in days. No one's really waiting for you. No one's really checking in. And at first, it doesn't bother you. You've always been strong, independent. You're used to taking care of things, not needing much from anyone. But then a holiday comes. You see the family together. But your seat feels quieter than before. Your stories get interrupted more. Your thoughts get brushed aside, and you begin to wonder, when did I stop being part of the center of things? No one tells you this about growing older, that the world keeps spinning, but you're no longer in its orbit. People move on. Friends pass. Children become parents. And in all that shifting, sometimes, you get left behind. You may not say it out loud, but loneliness doesn't need words to make itself known. It shows up in the mornings, when there's no one to greet. It sits with you at lunch. It fills the spaces where conversation used to be. And over time it becomes a kind of echo, one that only you can hear. You might still see people. At the store, at church, maybe even at dinner with family. But somehow it's different. They're around, but not really with you. They talk to you, but not with you. And that kind of distance? It's lonelier than being alone. You start to miss things that used to seem ordinary. The sound of a familiar voice down the hall. The laughter of someone who knows your whole story. A touch on the arm that doesn't feel clinical or rushed. You miss being needed. You miss being asked for advice. You miss being seen not as a senior, but as you. And it hurts quietly, silently, deeply. But here's something no one tells you. You're not the only one who feels this. You're not weak for noticing the silence. You're not overreacting. You're simply human. And this kind of isolation? It's not just happening to you. It's happening to millions of older adults, all over the world, behind closed doors and drawn curtains. They sit quietly in their living rooms, flipping through old photo albums, remembering times when their names were called 10 times a day, when they had somewhere to be, someone to talk to, something to give. But here's the part people forget. You still have something to give. Your presence still matters. Your wisdom still matters. Your voice, though quieter, now still deserves to be heard. So what can we do about the silence? Maybe it starts with a phone call you make, not wait for. Maybe it's a letter you write, a neighbor you greet, a group you visit, even if just once a week. Maybe it's saying yes to something new, even if your body says, I'm too tired today. Because sometimes doing just one thing outside your comfort zone reminds the world that you're still here, and it reminds you that you're still alive. Isolation feeds on inaction, but connection begins with a single choice. You may live alone. You may feel forgotten, but that does not mean you are forgotten, and you never will be, as long as your heart stays open, as long as your spirit keeps reaching out, and as long as you never let the silence convince you that you don't matter anymore, because you do, more than you know, and we're just getting started. Reality 2, the disappearing voice, being treated as invisible. I still remember when people used to listen. Not just hear me, but listen. They'd ask what I thought. They'd wait for my answer. They'd lean in when I spoke. Now, sometimes it feels like I speak, and the words vanish in the air before they ever land. It's like I've become background noise, like the ticking of an old clock in a quiet house. Still moving, still here, but barely noticed. When did I stop mattering? I walk into the doctor's office. I sit down. I wait my turn. And when they finally call my name, they speak to the caregiver, not to me. They ask my daughter how I'm feeling. They ask the nurse what medications I'm taking. And I'm sitting right there, breathing, alert, capable. But it's like they've already decided that I'm no longer the expert of my own body, of my own story. At the store, I get passed over. At family gatherings, my voice has to push harder just to be heard. And if I forget a name or a word, suddenly I'm treated like a child. Pat on the hand, kind smiles, quiet dismissal. Let me be clear, I am not invisible. I did not become less human with age. I have lived through things most people today can't even imagine. I've buried loved ones. I've held jobs when the world wasn't kind. I've raised children, paid bills, survived losses. I've known hunger. I've known heartbreak. I've known joy that brought me to my knees. And yet, some days, I speak and feel as though no one truly hears me anymore. I am spoken about, not spoken with, treated like a memory when I'm still very much alive. Is this what it means to grow old? To watch the world speed up while your voice gets softer? To sit at the same table you've always sat at, but now feel like a stranger in your own home? People say it's not intentional. They say it with kindness. We just want to help. We thought it would be easier. We didn't want to bother you. But what they don't understand is, when you stop asking me, you take something from me. When you stop listening, you don't just quiet my words, you quiet my worth. You make me small, and I'm not small. I'm still full of stories. I'm still full of lessons. I'm still learning, still thinking, still trying. I want to be heard. Not because I'm loud, but because I still have something to say. I want to be looked in the eyes, not over, not through, but in. I want someone to say, "Tell me about that day in 1968. Tell me what you really think about all this modern madness. Tell me something no one else knows." Because I do know things. Things no search engine can teach you. Things that came from living a full life. A complicated, beautiful, ordinary, irreplaceable life. And I still carry that with me, every day. If you're watching this and you felt your voice fading, I want you to know you're not alone. There are millions of us, still speaking, still waiting to be heard. And if you're someone who's guilty of overlooking your elders, talk to them. Really talk, not out of duty, not out of guilt, but out of respect. Because one day, if you're lucky, you'll be where we are. And you'll pray someone listens. Let's stop treating age like an ending, and start honoring it, like the living library it is. I may not speak as quickly as I once did. I may lose my place now and then. But when I speak from a lifetime, and I deserve to be heard. Reality 3, the health shocks that come without warning. It happens just like that. No warning, no loud siren, no gentle whisper telling you to brace yourself. One day you're walking fine. The next, your knees give out halfway to the kitchen. You go to bed feeling tired. You wake up and something inside you just feels different, heavier, slower, a little off but not enough to explain. And by the time you try to describe it to someone, it's already grown louder. That's the thing about health after 65. It doesn't always knock first. Sometimes it just walks right in. We like to think we'll see it coming, that we'll have time to prepare, time to react, time to fix. But aging doesn't always work that way. It moves quietly, gradually, until suddenly it doesn't. The balance you once had? It starts to vanish when you're turning too fast. You reach down to tie your shoe, and the room spins just enough to remind you you're not 30 anymore. And it's not just the legs. It's memory, it's blood pressure, it's digestion, it's energy. Things that used to reset overnight now take days, or they never reset at all. And sometimes, the scariest part isn't the pain. It's the not knowing. What is this new ache in my back? Why does my chest feel tighter after I climb the stairs? Is this normal or is this something worse? You start second-guessing your own body. The very thing you've lived inside your entire life suddenly becomes unfamiliar. And when you finally go to the doctor, you hope for clarity, but you often leave with more questions than answers. More referrals. More scans, more pills. They speak in terms that sound clinical. They call it age-related decline. But to you, it's Tuesday morning when you couldn't get out of bed. It's Friday evening when your legs gave out in the grocery store. It's Sunday afternoon when you forgot the name of your neighbor's son, someone you've known for 20 years. No one talks about these shocks, because no one wants to admit how vulnerable we become, even when we look strong, even when we act like we're fine. But here's the truth. You can be fine on Monday and face something life-changing by Wednesday. A fall, a stroke, a scan result, a diagnosis you never expected. And when it hits, you don't just worry about your body. You worry about your independence. You wonder if this means you can't drive anymore, if you'll need help getting dressed, if someone will now have to rearrange their life just for you. And that thought, it hurts even more than the illness. But let me tell you something you may have forgotten. These health shocks, they don't define your worth. They don't erase your dignity. They are not your fault. You didn't fail your body. Your body has simply walked further than most people ever will. And it's asking for more care now. More patience, more listening. Yes, things will change. Yes, you may have to let go of some routines. Yes, you might need more help than you ever imagined needing. But needing help doesn't make you weak. It means you're human. Still living, still adapting, still here. And being here in this stage of life, with all the surprises and shifts and setbacks, is something many people never reach. So no, you didn't see this coming. You weren't prepared. Neither were we. But now that it's here, you can face it. You can talk to your doctor and not just nod politely. You can ask until it makes sense. You can demand care that feels human, not rushed. You can learn about your body, even now. And you can teach others how to treat you with more compassion, not less. You still have the right to understand what's happening inside you. You still have a say. You still have power. Your health may change, but your ability to live with strength, with pride, with clarity, that doesn't go away. Even when the body shakes, even when the memory blurs, even when the path ahead looks uncertain, you still carry the strength of every year you've lived. And that is stronger than any shock life can throw at you. Reality 6. Losing purpose, the quiet danger that no one sees. It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, subtle, almost invisible. One morning, you wake up, and there's nothing pressing to do. No lunch to pack. No office to get to. No children to chase out the door. No tasks that must be done by 5. At first, it feels like freedom. Sleeping in, watching the morning unfold in quiet. No alarm clocks. No deadlines, just peace. But over time, peace turns into pause, and pause becomes stillness. And stillness starts to feel empty, because we weren't just meant to live. We were meant to matter, to be part of something, to give, to build, to be needed. And after 65, especially after 70, that sense of being needed begins to fade. The phone rings less. Fewer people ask for your advice. No one needs a ride to practice, or a paper proofread, or a hand fixing the sink. You've spent your life doing for others. And now it's quiet. You've crossed off the big list. The career, the parenting, the mortgage, the marriage, the hustle. And what's left? That question. What am I here for now? It creeps in. Not in a dramatic way. Not all at once. But like a slow leak in the soul. You see, there's a hidden danger to aging that no one warns you about. It's not the pain in your knees. It's not the prescriptions. It's the loss of purpose. And without purpose, the days blur, the weeks repeat, and the light inside begins to dim. Because as humans, we don't just need to be loved. We need to be useful. We need to know that our existence still matters to someone, somewhere. You may have been a teacher, a builder, a caregiver, a leader, or simply the person who always had the answers. But when the job ends, when the role is over, when the house is empty and the calendar is blank, you can start to feel like you're over too. But that's not true. You're not over. You're not done. You're just in a different chapter. And in this chapter, purpose doesn't always look like it used to. It might not be grand or obvious. It might be in the small things now. A neighbor you check in on. A story you write down. A grandchild you listen to without judgment. A plant you water. A note you send. Purpose is not about how much you do. It's about how deeply you connect. To others, to yourself, to the world around you. You may not lead a team anymore, but you can lead with kindness. You may not be in the workforce, but your wisdom is still working. You may not be busy, but you can be intentional. You still have value, even if no one says it, even if society forgets it, even if your body tries to convince you otherwise. Because your breath means something. Your words carry weight. Your story matters. And if you've lost your sense of purpose, that doesn't mean it's gone. It just means it's waiting to be reimagined, rediscovered, and reawakened. You are not just here to wait for the end. You are here to live until your very last moment. And that means finding something, anything, that gives your soul a reason to rise in the morning. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. So take a step, start small, and trust that even in this season of life, you still have more to give, more to feel, more to become. You are not finished, not even close. Reality 5. Financial traps and unseen vulnerabilities. You spend decades earning, saving, planning, trying to do everything right. You worked hard. You skipped vacations. You paid the bills. You helped your kids when they needed it, even when it meant doing with a little less for yourself. And now, you thought things would finally feel secure, stable, peaceful. But here's a truth not many people say out loud. Aging doesn't always come with financial comfort. In fact, for many, it brings quiet worry and silent fear. Prices rise, rent goes up. Groceries cost more than they did last month. Your medications, some of them are hundreds of dollars a bottle. You try to stretch the budget. You skip little things. You compare labels. You count pennies. But no matter how careful you are, there's always something unexpected. A roof leak, a medical bill, a car repair. And suddenly, the savings you thought would last another 5 years feels frighteningly thin. And then come the decisions. The ones no one should have to make. Do I fill the prescription or keep the lights on? Do I skip the checkup or cut back on food? Do I tell my children I need help? Or do I just smile and pretend everything's fine? That kind of stress. It wears on you. Quietly, every day. And what's worse, it makes you vulnerable. Because when money feels tight and someone offers a solution, it can be tempting to trust, even when you shouldn't. Maybe it's a phone call, claiming you owe money to the IRS. Maybe it's a friendly voice, telling you your grandchild is in danger and needs money now. Maybe it's an email about an investment opportunity that promises to double your savings. They sound professional. They sound urgent. And they know exactly how to make you feel scared or hopeful. But they're not here to help. They're here to take. And too many seniors fall victim, not because they're foolish, but because they trust, because they care. And sometimes, even family can take advantage. A loan that's never repaid. A signature you don't fully understand. A bank account slowly drained without your knowledge. It's a betrayal that cuts deeper than words. But here's what you need to remember. Your money is your voice. Your safety, your independence. You have every right to protect it, to ask questions, to say no, to speak up even when it's uncomfortable. You don't owe anyone blind trust. Not strangers, not salespeople, not even family. And needing help doesn't mean giving up control. You can share access without surrendering power. You can ask for advice without handing over the wheel. This is your life. You've earned every dollar you have. You've made it this far. You deserve to feel secure. And if you're watching this and thinking, I'm too embarrassed to ask for help, don't be. There is no shame in protecting what's yours. There is no weakness in saying, I don't understand. Can you explain it again? There is wisdom in caution and strength in boundaries. Talk to someone you trust, a financial counselor, a senior center, a friend with experience. Ask questions until you get answers. You have that right. You don't have to be rich to feel safe. You just need clarity, awareness, and support. And remember, no one should make you feel small for wanting to keep what you've worked so hard for. Your financial peace matters, because when your money feels steady, your heart rests easier, your nights are quieter, and your future feels just a little less uncertain. You've carried the weight of many people in your life. Now it's time to protect yourself, with knowledge, with courage, and with pride. Reality, the fear of becoming a burden. You don't say it out loud. You smile, you wave it off. You tell your children, I'm fine, sweetheart. But deep down, you wonder, what if I'm starting to need too much? What if my slowness is holding them back? What if one day I'm no longer the one helping, but the one everyone else has to help? It's a quiet fear, not dramatic, but always there. Behind every, can you drive me to the doctor? Behind every, I hate to ask, but could you pick up my prescription? You try to make it easy. You wait until the last minute to call. You say, don't go out of your way. You tell yourself you'll try harder next time because you don't want to be a burden, not to your family, not to your friends, not to anyone. You remember the years when you were the one others leaned on, the strong one, the dependable one, the one who handled everything without asking for help. Now, asking for help feels like surrender, like losing something, like giving up pieces of your independence, one request at a time. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Needing help is not the same as being a burden. Asking for support does not make you a problem. It makes you human. You see, the fear of being a burden doesn't come from weakness. It comes from love, from pride, from a lifetime of giving and not quite knowing how to start receiving. But receiving is part of the rhythm of life. You gave when it was your time. Now it's someone else's turn. And believe it or not, the people who love you, they want to help. They want to show up for you, not because they pity you, but because they care. They're not keeping score. They're not annoyed. They're not whispering about how much you need. They're just doing what families do, what love does, what you did for them years ago, when you stayed up late folding laundry or stayed quiet when you were hurting. You never saw them as a burden, did you? So maybe, just maybe, they don't see you that way either. But even so, there's still that voice inside, the one that says, I don't want to be the reason someone else struggles. To that voice, I say this, Your presence in this world is not measured by how little you need. It's measured by who you are, by your story, by the love you've poured into others, even in your quietest moments. And if one day you do need more help walking, more reminders, more care, that doesn't make you a burden. It makes you part of the circle. Because life is not a straight line. It's not all giving or all taking. It's a dance, and sometimes you lead, and sometimes you let others hold you up. There is grace in letting someone hold you. There is courage in saying, I can't do this alone. And if you're afraid of becoming a burden, remember this. You are still a blessing, even when you need help, even when you forget things, even when your body moves slower than your mind. You are still worthy of love, of care, of dignity, always. So the next time you feel guilty for needing a ride, or ashamed for asking for assistance, pause and remind yourself, you are not a weight. You are not a problem. You are a life that matters. And no life that matters is ever a burden. Reality 7. Preparing for the end without fear. There comes a point in life not marked by birthdays or gray hairs or wrinkles, but by something quieter, something deeper, a shift, a knowing that we are not here forever. You don't need anyone to tell you that. You feel it in your bones. You see it in the empty chairs at family gatherings, in the names slowly disappearing from your phone, in the friends whose laughter you still remember, but can no longer call. It's not morbid. It's not dramatic. It's just real. We are all moving towards something final. And the older we get, the more we start to wonder, what will it be like? Will it hurt? Will I be alone? Will they remember me? These thoughts visit you in the quiet hours, late at night, early in the morning, in the car, in the silence between songs. But here's what no one tells you. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to run from it. You don't have to pretend it isn't coming. You can prepare, not with fear, but with grace. Because the truth is, preparing for the end is one of the most loving things you'll ever do. Not just for yourself, but for the people you love. It's not just about wills or paperwork or decisions. It's about peace. It's about clarity. It's about lifting the weight off the shoulders of those who will one day have to walk through your absence. It's about saying, this is how I want to be remembered. This is what matters most to me. This is what I believe. And this is what I want you to know, even after I'm gone. And it's not morbid. It's wise, it's brave, it's beautiful. Because when you talk about it, when you plan and write things down and have the conversations, you take fear's power away. You create space for dignity, for choice, for love to take the lead. And more than that, you remind yourself that this final chapter is still part of your story. It is not the end of who you are. It is the closing of a book filled with thousands of moments, millions of breaths, laughter, tears, victories, losses, quiet afternoons, and wild, unpredictable years. Preparing doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're choosing peace over panic, intention over denial. You can still live fully, wildly, gratefully, while also knowing that one day this life will gently release you. And if you believe, like I do, that something comes after, that this world is only a piece of something larger, then preparing isn't an ending. It's a return. It's a going home. But even if you don't believe that, there is still meaning. There is still beauty in closing the circle with your own hands. And here's what I want you to hear most. You are not your death. You are your life. The way you've loved, the people you've touched, the lessons you've passed on. When the time comes, it's not about the fear. It's about the legacy, the stories you've told, the hands you've held, the strength you've shown again and again just by waking up and choosing to go on. So don't be afraid to talk about it, to write the letter, to share your wishes, to look at the horizon without flinching. Because this, too, is part of living, and you are doing it beautifully. You've made it here, all the way to the end of this conversation, and that alone says something powerful. It says you still care. It says you're still listening, still learning, still reaching. And maybe, just maybe, you needed to hear what we've talked about today, to feel seen, to feel less alone, to feel reminded that you're not invisible, and that your life still holds incredible meaning. Because it does. Even if your knees hurt, even if your memory fades sometimes, even if the world doesn't slow down to match your pace, you still matter. Deeply. Now more than ever. You carry decades of experience. You've survived things you never thought you would. You've loved. You've lost. You've rebuilt. And through it all, you're still here. That means something. That means everything. So if you've ever felt overlooked, if you've ever wondered, do I still have value? Let me say it clearly for anyone who needs to hear it. Yes, you do. You are needed. Your presence is powerful. And your story is not finished yet. And if this video helped you feel even a little more understood, if it spoke to something quiet inside you, then please, let's stay connected. Click like to let us know this message meant something to you. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Your voice might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Because here, we honor age. We honor truth. We honor you. This is not the end of the conversation. It's only the beginning. There is still beauty ahead. Still laughter to be shared. Still mornings worth waking up for. You are not fading. You are ripening. Becoming richer, deeper, wiser with each passing year. So take a breath. Lift your chin. And keep going, not in fear, but in hope. You still matter. And you are not alone. Not now, not ever. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, dear friend.